My obstetrician said the baby didn't survive. Then I found my son listed on an illegal adoption website. Dr. Cassandra Whitmore met us in the hallway outside the delivery room with her surgical mask pulled down and her eyes red. My wife Autumn had been in labor for 19 hours before they rushed her in for an emergency cesarean. I'd been pacing that hallway for 40 minutes imagining 1,000 outcomes, but never this one. Dr. Whitmore's hand touched my shoulder, and I knew before she spoke that something terrible had happened. I'm so sorry, Derek. We did everything we could. The umbilical cord was wrapped around his neck. By the time we got him out, there was no heartbeat. We tried to resuscitate for 12 minutes, but there was no response. I'm so sorry. Your son didn't make it. The words hit me in waves. Didn't make it. No heartbeat. Your son. We'd spent 9 months preparing for fatherhood. We'd painted the nursery pale blue. We'd chosen the name Jonah after my grandfather. Autumn had talked to her belly every night, telling our son about the world he'd be born into. And now Dr. Whitmore was telling me he was gone before we ever got to meet him. I couldn't process it. Couldn't make my brain accept what she was saying. Where is he? My voice came out hollow. I need to see him. I need to see my son. Dr. Whitmore's expression shifted to something gentle and practiced. Of course. We'll bring him to you once we've cleaned him up. And Autumn is asking for you. She's in recovery. The surgery went well, but she's very weak. She needs you right now. I walked into that recovery room on legs that didn't feel connected to my body. Autumn was lying on the bed, hooked up to monitors and IV lines. Her face was pale and streaked with tears. When she saw me, she reached out her hand and I took it, and we held each other and cried without speaking because there were no words big enough for what we'd just lost. A nurse brought Jonah to us wrapped in a white blanket. He was so small. His face was peaceful. His tiny fingers curled against his chest. Autumn held him first and kissed his forehead and whispered things I couldn't hear. Then she passed him to me, and I cradled my son's body in my arms and felt the weight of him and knew I would carry this moment for the rest of my life. They let us stay with him for 2 hours. Then, a hospital coordinator came in and talked about arrangements. Cremation or burial, death certificates, support groups for infant loss. Her voice was kind, but clinical. This was routine for her. For us, it was the end of everything. We chose cremation. 3 days later, we held a small memorial service with close family. My mother cried so hard, she had to leave the room. Autumn's father gave a eulogy about the grandson he'd never get to know. We placed Jonah's ashes in a small wooden urn that I kept on the dresser in our bedroom, where I could see it every morning. The grief was crushing. Autumn stopped eating, stopped sleeping. She'd sit in the nursery for hours staring at the empty crib. I went back to work after 2 weeks because I couldn't afford to take more time off, and because sitting at home drowning in sadness wasn't helping either of us. My job as a software engineer let me work remotely most days, which meant I could stay close to Autumn when she needed me. But she didn't seem to need anyone anymore. She'd pulled so far inside herself, I couldn't reach her. 6 weeks after we lost Jonah, I came home from the office to find Autumn in bed at 3 in the afternoon, still in her pajamas. I sat on the edge of the mattress and took her hand. I made an appointment with a grief counselor for both of us. We need help processing this. She turned her face away from me. Nothing is going to bring him back. Her voice was flat, dead. I know, but we're still here. We have to find a way to keep living. She didn't respond, just stared at the wall with empty eyes. The grief counselor was a woman named Dr. Nina Alvarado, who specialized in infant loss. She had a gentle voice and a calm presence that made it easier to talk about things I couldn't say to anyone else. We went to sessions together twice a week. Slowly, Autumn started to come back to herself, started eating regular meals again, started leaving the house for short walks, started talking about the future without crying. 2 months after Jonah died, I started having nightmares, always the same dream. I'd be holding my son and he'd open his eyes and look at me and reach for my face. Then I'd wake up and remember he was gone, and the grief would hit me all over again, fresh and sharp. One night, I woke from the dream at 2 in the morning and couldn't fall back asleep, and what happened next changed everything. To see the full story, click the link below or go on my channel.